Have you ever stopped to think about how those really huge scientific breakthroughs happen? Is it, always that lone genius in a lab having a sudden aha moment?
Or maybe a team working for years,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Methodically testing everything.
Exactly. But what if the next big discovery doesn't come from a person at all? What if it comes from, well, artificial intelligence?
Hmm.
Today, we're diving headfirst into a story that's kind of rewriting that script. We're looking at a system called Robin.
Right.
And it's not just assisting scientists. Apparently, it's automating the whole discovery process, start to finish.
It's a major step, yeah.
Our info for this deep dive comes straight from Future House, who made Robin, and also a recent preprint paper on RC.
So very current research, basically out just before peer review, gives us a really early look.
Exactly, a front row seat to something pretty unprecedented.
Hmm.
So our mission is clear. We want to get into not just what Robin discovered, because it did find something genuinely new, but maybe more importantly, how it managed that.
Right. The process.
Yeah. And what does it really mean for science when an autonomous system can drive discovery like this? It feels like a big deal.
Oh, it is. It really is a monumental shift.
Yeah.
Because, up until now, AI in science has mostly been about automating specific tasks.
Like crunching data or searching literature.
Exactly. Useful tools, definitely, but separate tools. Robin is different because it actually unifies these things. It brings them together into one system that can sort of conduct the whole research thought process.
Hmm.
So it's not just about speed, though it is faster. It's
Yeah.
about rethinking how we even generate knowledge, how we form hypotheses.
Yeah.
It's a new way of thinking about discovery itself.
Okay, let's unpack this then. When we talk about Robin, it's not like one single giant AI brain, is it? Future House calls it a multi-agent system.
That's a great point, and it's key to understanding how it works.
Hmm.
Think of it less like one super smart AI and more like a highly specialized research team where everyone knows their job perfectly. Future House built Robin by essentially integrating a bunch of these specialized AI agents. Each one is designed for a specific intellectual task you need in science.
So instead of one AI trying to do everything.
Right. Robin assigns roles, like you handle the literature review, you generate the hypotheses, you analyze the experimental data.
So like a scientific dream team.
Yeah.
Who are the players on this team then? What did Future House say they do?
Exactly, a dream team. They've got agents like Crow, Falcon, and Owl. Their specialty is literature search and synthesis. They dive into all the existing science papers and pull out the key insights.
Okay.
Then there's Phoenix. It's designed for chemical synthesis, figuring out how to make molecules, though it wasn't actually used in this specific discovery we're focusing on today.
Got it.
And then there's Finch. Finch is the data analysis expert. It takes the raw experimental results and makes sense of them, finds the patterns.
And you mentioned orchestration earlier. That's where the real magic happens.
Absolutely. The genius isn't just having smart agents like Crow or Finch. It's how Robin orchestrates them, in this case, Crow, Falcon, and Finch, into this unified, seamless workflow,
End to end.
end to end. That's what allowed Robin to not just suggest new treatments for diseases, but also to guide the process of preclinically validating them.
And preclinical validation means testing in labs, like cell cultures, before humans.
Exactly. Testing in cells or sometimes animal models. So the unified system and orchestration mean the AI handles that whole intellectual journey, from the initial idea right through to validating a potential candidate in the lab. It's not just doing isolated bits.
Okay, so what was the first big test? Its first AI-generated discovery. And it was a big one, right? Ripasudal for dry
A
AMD.
very big one. Ripasudal identified as a potential new treatment for dry, age-related macular degeneration, DAMD.
And for anyone listening, DMD is, well, it's the main cause of irreversible blindness globally, and we desperately need better treatments.
We really do. So yeah, this isn't just some academic exercise. It could have real human impact down the line.
So let's walk through how Robin did it. That iterative discovery cycle. It really shows the AI's, well, intellectual steps. How did it even start?
Okay, so step one was hypothesis and initial testing. Robin kicked things off using Crow, the literature agent.
Right.
Crow did this huge review of existing science. And from that, Robin itself generated a hypothesis.
Which was?
The hypothesis was that enhancing something called retinal pigment epithelium phagocytosis, let's call it RPE phagocytosis, could actually help treat DMD.
RPE phagocytosis? Can you break that down a bit?
Sure. So RPE cells are vital support cells in your retina. They keep your vision healthy.
Hmm.
One key job they have is this phagocytosis, basically like little vacuum cleaners.
Okay.
They eat up and clear away cellular debris, waste products that build up.
Hmm.
In DMD, this cleaning process gets messed up, waste builds up, and the disease gets worse.
Ah, okay. So Robin hypothesized that boosting this vacuum cleaner function could be beneficial. That sounds pretty insightful.
It really was. It identified a core biological process linked directly to the disease. So once it had that hypothesis,
What next?
Falcon, the candidate evaluator agent, stepped in. Falcon scanned loads of potential molecules, looking for ones that might boost that RPE phagocytosis.
Right. Narrowing it down.
Exactly. It narrowed it down, and then 10 of the top candidates were picked for actual lab testing, which humans then carried out.
Humans did the physical experiments. Got it. And then the results went back to the AI.
Yep. The raw data went to Finch, the analysis agent.
And what did Finch, or rather Robin through Finch, find?
Finch's analysis pinpointed one molecule, the ROCK inhibitor called Y27632. It clearly boosted or augmented that RPE phagocytosis in the cell culture experiments.
Okay, so an initial hit, promising.
Definitely promising. It showed a compound could potentially improve that cleanup function.
But Robin didn't just stop there and say found one, which is what's really striking. It went deeper. Step 2 was mechanism investigation.
Exactly. And this is where you really see the autonomy. After finding that Y27632 worked, Rob didn't just report it, it autonomously proposed the next experiment.
What kind of experiment?
An RNA sequencing experiment. That's a technique that lets you see exactly which genes inside the cells are being turned on or off by the drug.
Ah, to figure out how Y27632 was boosting the phagocytosis.
Precisely. To understand the underlying mechanism. So humans did the RNA-seq experiment, generated the data.
And back to Finch for analysis.
Back to Finch.
This is fascinating. It's not just finding an effect, it's pushing to understand the why. So what did Finch find about the mechanism?
Finch's analysis was key. It showed that Y27632 was turning up the activity of a gene called ABCA1.
ABCA1, what does that do?
ABCA1 is a really important gene in RPE cells. It codes for a protein that acts like a pump, helping remove excess lipids fats from the cells. And importantly, problems with ABCA1 and lipid buildup are also linked to DMD.
Wow. So Robin connected the dots. It found a drug, saw an effect, and then uncovered a specific molecular pathway involving ABCA1 that explained the effect and is relevant to the disease.
Exactly. That's the kind of deep mechanistic insight that could take human teens ages to uncover. Robin figured it out autonomously as the next logical step.
Okay, so that deeper understanding then led to step 3, the discovery of ripasudil itself.
That's right. Armed with all that data from round 1, the initial hits, and the ABCA1 mechanism insight, Robin proposed a second, more refined list of drug candidates to test.
Using what it learned?
Precisely. These new candidates were tested in the same lab setup, and this is where it gets really interesting. Robin identified a new top hit from this second round, ripasudil.
Ripasudil, I think you mentioned that's already used for glaucoma.
It is. It's an eye drop already approved and used for treating glaucoma, a totally different eye condition.
And the key thing here is...
The key thing, the really novel discovery, is that ripasudil had never before been suggested as a potential treatment for DMD. Nobody had made that connection.
So this is it. The autonomous AI-driven discovery, taking an existing drug, identifying a plausible mechanism through its own investigation, and proposing it for a completely new major disease.
That's the leap. A genuinely novel therapeutic hypothesis generated and preclinically supported by the AI system.
Incredible. Okay, so we've seen finding ripasudil for DMD, and the really detailed how. Let's zoom out now. What are the bigger implications here? This autonomous capability. What does it mean for science?
Well, the crucial detail, and this is pulled right from their paper and announcement, is all hypotheses, experiment choices, data analyses, and main text figures in the manuscript describing this work were generated by Robin autonomously.
Okay, wait. All hypotheses, experiments, analysis, autonomously.
Yes. Now, it's vital to be clear. Human researchers still did the physical lab work, pipetting, running machines, the hands-on stuff.
Right.
But as they state, the intellectual framework was entirely AI-driven. The thinking, the decision-making about what to investigate, how to test it, how to interpret the results, that was Robin.
That's a fundamental difference from AI just, say, speeding up data analysis for a human researcher.
Absolutely. This isn't AI as just a tool for the scientist. This is AI acting as the intellectual driver, formulating the research questions and designing the path to answers. And they describe Robin as the first multi-agent system capable of fully automating the key intellectual steps of the scientific process. They call it a semi-autonomous approach.
Semi-autonomous because humans still do the physical experiments.
Exactly. But it really makes you ask, what does discovery even look like when the AI is doing the primary intellectual work? It suggests maybe the role of the human scientist shifts, perhaps more towards setting the big challenges, guiding the AI, interpreting the findings in a broader context.
Rather than generating every single hypothesis themselves.
Potentially, yes.
Yeah.
It becomes more of a partnership, but with the AI taking on a lot more of the cognitive load.
And the speed. The sources mention the speed.
Oh yeah, get this. The entire project, from initially conceptualizing Robin for this task all the way through the experiments, the discovery, and writing and submitting the paper.
How long?
Just 2.5 months.
2.5 months. For a novel therapeutic candidate discovery, that's incredibly fast.
It's astonishingly fast. For context, this kind of work could easily take years for a traditional research team. So this speed really changes the game.
It really signals a potential acceleration in the pace of research itself.
It does. And that speed, combined with the autonomy, is why the sources talk about a new paradigm for AI-driven scientific discovery.
A new paradigm.
Yes. And crucially, they stress that Robin's agents, Crow, Falcon, Finch, are general purpose. Meaning they aren't just built for this one specific medical problem. They can potentially be applied to, and I quote, a wide variety of discoveries across diverse fields, from materials science to climate technology.
Wow. So not just medicine.
Not just medicine at all. This isn't just about finding new drugs, as amazing as that is.
You could point Robin at finding better battery materials.
Exactly. Imagine Robin autonomously designing and proposing novel materials for energy storage that no human has thought of. Yeah. Or maybe designing new catalysts for capturing carbon dioxide more efficiently.
That would be huge for climate tech.
Huge. Yeah. The idea is that this orchestrated AI approach can potentially tackle challenges in any field where you have data, you need hypotheses, and you can do experiments to validate them. It suggests the rate of discovery could just explode across the board.
Removing bottlenecks that were maybe just limited by how fast humans can think or process information.
Or even our own biases and assumptions about where to look. Yeah. AI might see connections we miss.
And to help make that happen, Future House is actually open sourcing Robin. It says May 27th.
That's right, making the code available. That's a big move because it means researchers everywhere can potentially take this framework, adapt it, build on it, apply it to their own specific scientific questions.
So it could spread pretty quickly through the scientific community.
That's likely the hope. It could really accelerate adoption and lead to even more innovation based on this idea.
Okay, so let's try and wrap this up. The core achievement here is Robin, this autonomous AI system, identifying a genuinely new potential treatment for DMD, Riposutal. And it did this by managing all the complex intellectual steps itself. Hypothesis, experiment design, analysis with humans doing the lab work.
That's the essence of it, yeah.
And the bigger picture implications. Well, they seem pretty profound.
They really are. If you connect this to the bigger picture, what does it mean when the speed of discovery isn't just tied to human intuition or how many experiments we can run?
Right.
It fundamentally changes the equation. It forces us to think about this new partnership emerging between human intelligence and highly capable AI. It's moving beyond AI assisting us towards AI potentially becoming an intellectual driver itself.
Pushing the boundaries of what science can even achieve.
Potentially, yes. It's a fascinating and maybe slightly daunting new frontier.
So, final thought for you listening. What really stands out to you about Robin's achievement? Thinking about your own field or areas you care about. How might AI systems like this accelerating discovery change things beyond just medicine? And maybe even consider, how might this redefine what it actually means to be a scientist in the coming years? Lots to think about.
Definitely.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into a really fascinating development at the intersection of AI and scientific discovery. We hope you'll continue exploring these ideas.